Hello and welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa Hemming, and if a therapist and a life coach had a baby, you get me. I am having a very human week. And it's honestly been impacting how I'm showing up for this podcast, on social media, and it's funny because I've been using my ChatGPT. I try, to limit my use, but it helps me so much in terms of my mindset and my mental health and like reminding me of what I'm capable of and who I am. And one of the things that it reminded me this week is that I've built this brand on honesty and imperfection and humanity and being human. And the fact that I am showing up imperfectly as a human being is on brand for me. So I am okay with that. And, so I had sort of scheduled some time to record this podcast today. And I just had my 504 meeting for my youngest. And I'm all sorts of emotional. If you've been around with me for a while, you know that my youngest is in 7th grade now, but her 5th grade year was horrific. But through her having that terrible year, I got her into therapy consistently. We got her a diagnosis of anxiety, got her hooked up with a 504 plan so that she was supported when she made the transition to middle school in 6th grade. And her having the 504 has been everything to me, to her support. And I just can't say enough about it. And I'm like, do I record this podcast? Feeling all emotional, and then again I went right back to that conversation that I had with ChatGPT the other day, and they said, your brand is being human and imperfect, so show the fuck up however you need to show up, because that's what you do. And that's what I do. I am a human being doing this life very imperfectly and feeling all the feels this week. So we had the meeting, and it's so cool to, we have it on Zoom, and there's like the district person who, pays for the social work services for her. There's like a representation of one of her teachers. There's the social worker. There's the doctor that works with her weekly, and a dean, maybe. There was like 6 people, and then there's me, and I just get to hear them sort of talk about how she's doing, what she's doing well, and then where her limitations are, and basically the most important part of the plan. And I've never had this for any of my kids before, so this is all new to me. But then it's like, okay, what part of the plan is working, what needs to be adjusted, and what needs to end up happening to better support her. And it's just, I guess, to be a mom in this situation and have her be seen by other people makes me feel so good, because I know she's imperfect, just like all of us, just like me, showing up here tearful and human today. And I guess it's sort of like, I remember going with my oldest to her parent-teacher conferences. Like, my oldest always has excelled and always just been a really good kid. But, you sort of, as a parent, see different things at home than you do, when you go to a conference or whatever. And it's so cool at conferences to see other adults see your kids. And for me, that's the takeaway, is like the appreciation that they had. Like, the doctor that she works with, that she sees for social work, is just the kindest and enjoys her so much. And even like the teacher, he's just like, we really appreciate having her around. And like, that's the best thing you could ask for as a parent. And then of course I go into my son, who I don't see that as often. And that breaks my heart for him. He had a teacher, his kindergarten teacher, and then he had him again, I think, in 2nd grade. He was a male teacher, Mr. Esposito. I will forever be so grateful for that man, because he saw my son in the way that I just saw those people see my youngest. He saw my son. And my son is a tough one to see. Not a tough one to see, a tough one, because I think it actually takes like effort and time and ability to sort of understand a kid like that who tends to be quiet and a little bit more introverted and a little more to himself. But that teacher saw him, and I saw my son thrive as a result. And it breaks my heart that, like, that's the last time I've seen that for my son. It was so long ago in second grade, and my son is 17 now. And I don't know. I have so many feelings in regards to parenting and parenting my two daughters versus parenting my son. And I don't know what I would do differently if I could do it all again. I might have been more diligent about, I don't know. I've tried to get him into therapy to like develop skills and all of those things, and I don't know what I would do differently, but I just know that I know I know his heart and I know who he is, and I want other people to experience that and see him for who he is. And I wish he had what my youngest has, but what are you going to do? So my oldest, Kaylin, is graduating from college on May 16th. I can't fucking believe this. I feel like she left. I mean, I think she left the year that I started my podcast. So as long as my podcast has been in existence is how long she's been at college. And it's so funny because when you have a kid go to college for the first time, that was such an emotional part of my journey. I had so many feelings. Like, I couldn't believe it ended. I couldn't believe that she was graduating, that she was moving on to college, that she was moving out, that she was an adult. And it seems like a snap of my fingers has gone by, and now she's graduating from college and moving back home. And now I'm having to transition myself to having her back living at home, which honestly, I'm in my fucking car because I forgot she was gonna be here, and I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna record a podcast, and she's like, oh, Maurice is bringing me a breakfast sandwich, and I'm like, okay, well, what time is he doing that? I don't know. I think he's on his way now. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go in my car and record my podcast, and you do your thing. So, and this is, as happy as I am to have her back, I would not have it any other way. I know, like, life is hard, rents are expensive. She's going to have a huge student loan payment as soon as she graduates. So, we had a talk yesterday. I'm like, you can stay as long as you'd like, but it is going to be a transition in terms of adjusting to what we do here and getting used to each other's schedules again. I know, for her, she's not as used to my work schedule as the other two are. The other two, like, they come home from school, they know I'm in therapy, they know not to be loud, they shut up and they go to their rooms, they grab a snack and do whatever. She is not as used to that because I think I don't remember what the hell I did as a job when she was living at home, but it wasn't primarily me at home. So it's another transition. We're in another period of transition, and this sort of realization, like, I don't really ever have my house to myself, and I'm okay with that because I know one day I'll be alone. For now, I'm just embracing that they're here. Everyone is so much happier, and I think I have an episode about this, and I feel so bad for my oldest sometimes because I'm like, there's so much pressure around her. I shouldn't even say pressure. I don't, maybe she doesn't even feel it, but people are just happier when she's around. I'm happier when she's around. My kids are happier when she's around. Declan, who, parenting him has not been easy in the last, I would say, 2 years, and he's much happier when she's around. So I am really excited for her to be back. Even the last couple months, like when she's been visiting, because she only goes to URI and her boyfriend lives here, so she's here a lot. But even when She visits. Usually Madikit like takes over her bedroom while she's at school, and so she doesn't even feel like it's her own room. So she rarely stays here is what my point is. So when she's been visiting in the last couple months, she stays at Maurice's, so we don't really see much of her. So this is totally different. She's slept here the past 2 nights. It feels really good. It's really exciting, and we're doing things. So, I don't really have a specific topic today because, as I said, it's a very human time for me, and I've had a really emotional week of just recognizing, not just where I've been, but where I want to go. And if my actions are lining up with where I want to go, and really being honest and clear with myself about what that looks like. I think, I was saying to a client, there's no right. My client was like moving. And I said, well, who do you want to be when you move? Because I know there are certain times in our lives where it's easier to make transitions. Some people may think that's New Year's. I personally don't. But it may be like when you move, or when you change jobs, or when you change houses, or when you have a breakup, or whatever it is. That is maybe a more natural time to say, where have I been and where do I want to go? And that's where I'm at right now, is figuring out exactly because, I always say, it doesn't matter what other people think of you, right? Like, you can think all the things of me that you want. I have to lay my head down on my pillow at night and know how I showed up and how I behaved and how I acted, how I responded, how I treated people. That's up to me to determine, right? Like, I can say to you, I'm a nice person and you can believe me, but only I know, right? So at the end of the day, how do you feel about yourself and where you're going and where you're headed? And are the actual actions that you're taking, are those in line with what vision you have for your life? And that's what this week has been really about for me, is making sure that I'm showing up in a way that feels good to me, authentic to me, and in a way that makes me feel proud. And ultimately, it all comes down to my babies, right? Like I hate to say that sometimes, because I'm like, sometimes I've thought about this when it comes to dating. Oh, there's a butterfly that made me think of my dog, Kenzie. I always think of her. Like, I think this time of year is triggering for me too, because I put her down in May 2022. What? That was 4 years ago. I can't believe she's been gone that long. She started with a bladder problem and she was in the hospital on Cinco de Mayo. Like, May is a happy time for me. It's my birth month and all of that, but I think of like that time when she was in the hospital, and then she did come home for like a week, but then ultimately had to be put down. But anyways, now I forget what I was fucking saying. This sucks. Shit, I totally lost my train of thought. But human and imperfect. That's what I have to keep going back to, and that's who I am, and this is why this podcast started. Imperfect, not editing, and just doing the fucking shit. But yeah, so that's what this week has been. And I think, the babies, my babies. When I think about, so okay, if you guys watched Age of Attraction, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. Age of Attraction, there was a woman. Age of Attraction is a dating show. Basically, they meet other people without telling each other what their ages are, and they only find out their ages at the promise ceremony, and then they find out, like, oh my god, I'm dating, I'm 30 and I'm dating a 60-year-old. But there was one couple, Teresa, and I forget what her boyfriend's name was, but Teresa was like 50 something. She had all 3 adult children, which I know that I don't have all adult children, but they are pretty old. And what stuck out to me about Teresa, and I actually shared this with one of the guys that I see, because we talked about a lot about Age of Attraction. And the thing about Teresa that stuck out to me is that she was so hesitant to do anything that would upset her children. From a mom's perspective, I totally understand that. I totally understand not wanting to upset your children, embarrass your children, all of that, because I do feel motivated in that way, that this is all about my kids. But at the same time, there's a piece of my individuality, or my being a human, not being a mom, right? Like, because I'm not just a mom, I'm also a fucking human living this life. And I had to take a step back, and I learned a little bit about Teresa, because she almost said, and this is a spoiler, so sorry if you haven't seen this or you want to see it or you're not at the end yet, but it has been out for a while, so I'm not too sorry. Teresa was going to say no to this guy to having a relationship after the show. The only reason she ended up saying yes is because her children wrote a letter and said, "We support you no matter what. We don't care what people think. You do you. He seems to make you happy, so go for it. We believe in you. We appreciate you. We love you, blah, 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 blah." And only then did Teresa say, "All right, I'm going to give this a shot." And that was a wake-up call for me to say, okay, I live for my babies. I want to be good for my babies. I want to be the best influence. I want to show them that nothing is out of their reach, that they can dream big, they can go for their dreams, they can be what they want, they can do what they want to do. They don't, have to beat to anyone's drum except for their own. But then I'm like, why is it that I don't when I meet guys on dating apps, I'm like, I don't talk on the phone. I've got my kids all the time. And then I'm like, wait, what? So because I have my kids all the time and because they're in my house, I don't talk on the phone and have time for myself? So I have to check myself sometimes, because sometimes I feel like I am being Teresa and I do not want to be Teresa. I love my kids, and I think that you can also love yourself while loving your kids, and also be able to know what's right for you and trust your gut while also being a mom. And I get that that's tricky, but I think it's important, at least for me, to share that, because I don't want to be led just by mom. I'm also a woman. I also have needs. And, this is something I'm sort of navigating in real time. And I don't know if I've shared this before, but like the sharing of locations, like my kids check my location so much more than I check theirs. And when it doesn't, like, I don't want them to know where the fuck I am sometimes. And I turn my location off and they give me shit about it. But you know what? My business is to keep you safe. It's not so you can keep tabs on me. It's my job to keep myself safe, and I'm going to do that. So that's sort of where I'm going in the future, is maybe a different view on dating, and a different approach on how I view my role as a mom and my role as a woman. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's been a very, as I said, a human week, a lot of introspection and growth. I mean, I'm here for the growth, right? Like, I couldn't believe it. Today's a full moon. Today it's May 1st that I'm recording this. It's a full moon. I had I'm part of an amazing astrology program. If you don't follow Drunk Astrology, you should absolutely follow Drunk Astrology. I listen to him every single day in terms of the daily dose. That's Caitlin. She's going to get her egg and cheese. But I follow him every day because he gives I don't care if you don't believe in astrology. I've always loved astrology. And now that I am sort of an astrology connoisseur, I cannot tell you how impactful it is on a daily basis, and how much it scares the shit out of me, the accuracy of how it knows what's going on in my life. Like, it's crazy. So I'm part of this group, Daily Dose of Stars. That's my, like, where I hear the astrological information every day that pertains to me. And I'm also part of a program called Moon Phase Manifester. And basically we pay attention to what's happening in the stars, what's happening astrology wise, and we manifest, let things go, and process things according to what's happening in the stars. And I've been part of it for probably like maybe 8 months now, and it's so good. But yesterday we had a full moon training. This is a big full moon of releasing, and it's funny because what he'll have you do is, I don't even know if it's always the same or what, but in the full moon trainings, we go back and look at, in our photo albums or our texts or whatever's relevant in our business, our planners, whatever. We go back to certain periods of time and see what's happening in those time periods and figure out what the lessons were, what we want to let go of, what we want more of. And it's funny because yesterday we had to look at a time period, and I looked through my photo album, and like nothing was standing out to me. And so he asked in the training, he's like, so what, what have you found? And I was like, I don't really see anything. But then he gave us these prompts that were so spot on to what I've been feeling this week in terms of feeling guilt, feeling shame, like letting go of old layers of myself. Like, what have I been obsessing about? Like, if you're on my exclusive content that I release twice a week, like, I have fucking things that I've been sort of hooked on and spiraling about. And what do you want to let go of? All of that fucking shit. All of that shit. So I have been journaling and burning it and just sort of saying goodbye to the things that have been holding me back. And, I love being in a constant state of growth because it's hard as shit, but it's also, I am so self-aware, and, I love that about myself, where I can really be real with myself, even if it's too real, because I think there is elements to myself where I'm like, all right, turn this fucking brain off. Like, turn it off. That's enough. Like, go do something else. It's also this weird period of time for me where I feel like I sometimes I say to ChatGPT, I'm like, I think I need another hobby. And ChatGPT is like, no, you fucking don't. Like, you run, you work out, you go to Harvard Athletic, you paddleboard, you fucking go out with friends, you like music bingo, you like this, you like that. Like, you have a podcast, you have a business, you do therapy. Like, just chill the fuck out. And that's been interesting for me too, because especially this week, Monday, the only day I had something was Tuesday. That was music bingo, thank fucking God. But Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, my day ended at work 5:45, and I'm like, all right, now what? Now what do I do? If it's warm, I go to the river, I'll paddleboard, I'll journal. If it's cold, I think I took fucking 4 walks on Tuesday. Like, it's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a quiet week, and I'm learning to be alone. I'm learning to pay attention to myself and what I need. I'm learning to be okay with the quiet. I'm learning to be okay with getting in bed at 7:15 if that's what I feel like doing, and recognizing what I have accomplished and being okay with that. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me this space to be human and to be imperfect. And thank you for seeing me and hearing me and letting me be me and having the space to do that. And hopefully I teach you that you can do the same. I hope that's the beauty of this podcast. And I'm so grateful for this space. I'm so grateful for this platform. And I'm chalking it up to, like, life is just hard right now. It doesn't always have to be hard. We have to choose the joy, and we have to do what's right for us. And that's what I'm trying to do. I love you. I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week. Maybe we'll have another interview if I can get my shit together and get somebody on. I have an exciting weekend this weekend, though. I'm going to the 10-mile Broad Street run in Philly. I got in through the lottery, so that was exciting. And I'm going to go to Philly with some girls. I get to see my friend Rachel, and I get to meet my friend Donna for the very first time. We've met on social media. I don't even know how many years ago, but I've never met her in real life, and I get to squeeze her and hug her and run with her. So this is going to be fun, and I am grateful for you. Bye.